Welcome back to my channel as we continue to move through eclipse season here in August 2026 with our second eclipse coming up on August 28th. It is a full moon lunar eclipse at nearly 5 degrees of Pisces in your chart. And this one is quite a big deal because this eclipse is strong the end of August. But the more I researched it and went into everything that was in play, it turns out the changes that start this month continue into early 2028. Yeah, 2028. So let me explain why. So you want to identify, first of all, where you have 5 degrees of Pisces in your chart, as this is where that full moon lunar eclipse is revealing what is complete for you. Now, Pisces is the 12th and final sign of the astrological wheel. It signifies what you need to release, close out, and move away from. And when we have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign, it's more emotional. You feel it at deeper levels of your being. It also signifies that there is a cycle that is ready to close out and be over for you that you've already been sensing. You're already aware of it. You probably have been feeling it approach, or there's a part of you that's tuned into that frequency that says, I know something is shifting and ending, even if it's not fully clear yet. I can feel the changes happening. And so this is a Pisces eclipse that is going to actually validate your intuition, and what you've already been sensing is being removed. The Pisces energy asks us to let go so you can move on, to let go so that you can also process and digest whatever it is that you need to move through, whether that is mentally, emotionally, energetically, or otherwise. This signifies that there are big changes around endings that are happening, and it's going to stir up everything that's underneath the mind. Meaning it's going to stir up any sadness, grief, melancholy, any loss, and how you deal with loss. It's ultimately, though, going to lead you to acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, and ideally a bigger understanding of what that cycle was about, what you were learning, what you were seeking to experience, perhaps at a soul level, and then what you're going to take forward as the energy phases out and ends, and then you learn from it and you take those pearls of wisdom forward. Now, this energy here at 5 degrees of Pisces in your chart, that's where the moon is the fullest. It's opposing both the Sun and Mercury at 5 degrees of Virgo. And that's the opposite sign of Pisces. And the Virgo energy is about what is. It's very practical and realistic. It's connected to the process, the methodology, the details. Virgo is the energy of what we organize, how we understand what's going on in the world by bringing things together and understanding them at a very practical level. Virgo looks for evidence, looks to understand what is happening, and then to digest it in a way that brings about an understanding of what is true and what is not. So this Virgo energy is very strong with both Mercury and the Sun there. And this is where that Pisces lunar eclipse is going to be asking you to let go of what has previously worked for you. What has previously paid off or brought about results, you're going to see that that's no longer the case. It's no longer effective. It's no longer satisfying. There's things that just aren't working anymore. And again, maybe this is what you've already been sensing or feeling, and you've been looking for a new solution or wanting a new approach, but maybe it just hasn't presented itself yet. This is a Pisces lunar eclipse that's going to give a jolt of understanding to what you're not meant to put energy towards anymore, and what has to be removed in order to essentially set you free or clear off the desk or change things up. So right there, we have a focus here on where you have 5 degrees of Pisces and 5 degrees of Virgo in your chart. These are both areas of change They're going to require you to release and step back. You could have a sense that there's something that you don't even have energy for anymore, but it's been how you've always done things. And this is an eclipse that's going to just stir that up and make it so clear to you that this is not what you're meant to put your good energy towards. So this is a typical full moon lunar eclipse energy where the moon and the sun are on opposite sides of your chart. We have Mercury in play here, which brings in more of the mind, seeking understanding, seeking a plan. That Mercury in Virgo conjunct the sun could actually feel quite critical, stressed. There could be a lot of anxiety here around not knowing what to do next, not knowing what to choose. But the energy is actually pulling you into the Pisces influence to trust the uncertainty and to know that it will be evident what the next plan is and what you should do after you've accepted what is done, over, and complete. But wait, there's more, because in the mix here that makes this Pisces lunar eclipse even more of a big deal is that the sun, moon, and Mercury are all receiving a square for the first time in our lives from this Uranus in Gemini at 5 degrees. And this brings in a disruptive jolt of change that brings in new information. It reveals new details. It's going to be surprising communications or shocking discoveries. This could be revelations that change the whole story, change the whole narrative. This is going to bring in what was previously hidden that is now revealed. And there's shock waves associated with this Uranus and Gemini squaring these planets in this lunar eclipse. And it's because of this Uranus influence that this energy lasts into 2028. Because of how Uranus in Gemini is going to retrograde back and forth across 5 degrees of Gemini, continuing to reveal more of the story, details, information, revelations, also solutions, fast-moving options, or things you never thought of before come through and arrive. So you can see how this energy, it's not only fast-moving, but it could be hard to know what to believe. It could feel like we all have monkey mind, and as if we don't already, but it could feel like there's so much going on, so much being stirred up. What do you believe? What do you trust? What do you read? What do you subscribe to? There's a lot happening here that amplifies stories, data, details, revelations. And I'm going to say that it's world changing. It's what's previously been hidden, and it comes to light. It's shocking. It's emotional. It's deeply emotional. And so it can stir up a lot of, well, layers of energy. It can stir up the grief and the sadness. It can certainly stir up what's been lost, what's been experienced. It can bring up emotional hardships you've had to endure, and now you're questioning them. There is a lack of stability in this energy signature, which means it could be hard to know what to feel because you feel so much. And with this Uranus and Gemini squaring these planets, it's unsettling. And there can be a sense of, well, what's going to happen next? What next shocking revelation is going to come through? And when I look at this particular Pisces lunar eclipse happening after the Leo solar eclipse, it further develops the story, if you will, around people who have been idealized and a fall from grace. disappointment in leaders, discouragement around what's occurred, lack of trust, lack of public trust. This brings up abuses of trust, fall from grace. It's like this Uranus in Gemini. I keep seeing a phone, a mobile phone, a cell phone that has something important. And that could also be positive developments. That could also be wonderful news, fast-moving events here that change your life for the better. And so what's interesting about this particular Pisces lunar eclipse is that it feels like it's working with both sides of the spectrum, almost like these extremes at times of revelations happening over here that are difficult, emotional, and intense, and then also just as quickly some fast-moving new options and ways to proceed forward that show up and continue to change the energy. So it's going to really be stirring things up here the end of August. And I feel too, I mean, just looking at the astrology here that I was researching, this energy comes back into play again in late February 2027. So 6 months from now, we're going to have a Virgo lunar eclipse at 2 degrees, working with these same energies, also squaring Uranus and Gemini again. And so there's like this phase 1 that starts the end of August, and then February 2027 is phase 2 of the same themes. So here's what I recommend. It's to your advantage to stay adaptable, versatile, and to know that you will always make the best choice for yourself and your energy amongst all these changes. Do not lock in to only one option or one solution. Stay open to sampling, to testing, to trying different things out. Stay open to the fact that these 3 areas of your life are going to be undergoing ongoing change. So the early degrees of Pisces, 0 to 5, you could say 0 to 6 degrees of Pisces, 0 to 6 degrees of Virgo, 0 to 6 degrees of Gemini. These are the 3 areas of your chart, of your life, where there's going to be ongoing changes. It will be destabilizing. It could be exhausting. These are energies that require us to stay energetically open to options and choices as they show up and present themselves without being overly fixated on one single approach. And because this energy is so dynamic, it can be stressful. Because if you're looking to always know the answer or to always figure it out, you're going to find that there's a great answer one week and then the answer looks different the next week. And this is exhausting for our brains, right? Where we're like always trying to figure it out or always trying to know what to do. And so I think that one of the approaches here that could work is to understand that this is about short-term solutions. Again, remaining versatile and adaptable, continuing to expand your skills. Okay, so we can't be cognitively lazy, or we can't just sit back and think that we have to give up or that it's not worth the effort. There's going to be areas of your life that continue to change, and it's going to come down to how you handle that change. This means that with the Virgo and Gemini energies being strongly affected here, our daily schedules are going to continue to be unpredictable. And so in my life, I apply that to the school year. School is starting, school is beginning. This school year is going to look very different than previous school years. And I see it as, okay, I've got to be ready for not only the changes in schedule, the activities, the homework, everything, that is being learned and studied, but to know that schools, the school systems are under big significant change now. And I know not everybody has a child or children in school, but this is where the energies are showing up in my life. And I thought this would be relatable because part of what we're seeing is that education is being approached in a whole new way now. And at first it was exciting to bring in these new technologies. And now there are many teachers and school boards and even school districts that are saying, no, we don't want that. We're pulling all that technology out. We're going to go back to handwriting, to cursive, to doing things analog so that we don't learn our human capabilities. So there's like a lot of shifts and changes going on within school systems. There's discussion of even moving and trying out a 4-day school week. This has already been underway and tested in some states here in the US. There have also been budget cuts where schools have been closed down because of shrinking student populations, where people are seeking new alternative approaches to education. And so these are just some of the examples of how Uranus and Gemini is bringing in these disruptive changes to what has been traditionally experienced, especially in education. And it means that it's going to continue to shift and change. We don't know where it's going. We don't know where it's going to land. So it's about staying adaptable as these changes happen and as new approaches appear. So I realize that's more of a higher level example, but that's a big part of this energy. And the Pisces lunar eclipse is going to, again, reveal what is naturally closing and ending out because it's no longer effective, no longer useful, no longer bringing about the results that are needed for our modern times. At a personal level, the Pisces lunar eclipse could stir up what you have been avoiding because that truth or understanding would change a lot for you. Pisces is kind of where we hide things under the rug, we stash it away or procrastinate. It's the stuff we don't always want to deal with or look at. And then here comes a lunar eclipse that brings it to the forefront, puts it in the bright moonlight to illuminate what has been residing there in your unconscious that now you need to see. And so for many people, this could be a jolt of understanding that you're actually ready to accept and work with and deal with. This could be really uncomfortable. There's a lot in this lunar eclipse energy that is uncomfortable because it's requiring us to think differently, to move into new territory that we've never been in before. It's requiring us to face parts of ourselves we haven't wanted to see. And it's also asking for a practical level of responsibility around any outdated mental narratives that reflect an older understanding or older consciousness. But there's good news here. There really is, because that Uranus and Gemini influence is going to bring about some sudden realizations that just click. It just makes sense. There's something that's going to show up that could free you from, it's like something in your own energy or in your own sense of self that you didn't know was blocking you. And then rapid growth is one of the beautiful developments from this particular Pisces lunar eclipse. There's just something, it's like it changes over rapidly. And you can have some breakthroughs and these awesome aha moments that make sense of something as you recognize why you have to leave it behind or why something is ending in order to move forward. there's interesting complexities here. So I do have a separate video for you on YouTube that goes through this chart, and I discuss more of the specifics within this particular Pisces lunar eclipse. But I want to do this video for you because there is meant to be a deeper recognition of what's been holding you back, that's been in that like Pisces unconscious storehouse of energies, and that this could be a life-changing lunar eclipse. It will be a life-changing lunar eclipse for any planets or points in the first 6 degrees of the mutable signs. So if you have planets or points between 0 and 6 degrees, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, Uranus is here, stirring up your life, bringing about things that have to change, that will change, and you won't go back to the previous version of it. And those changes with this Uranus continue into February 2028. So this is a big deal, but this is why astrology is such a wonderful tool, because now you have a heads up that the changes that are starting for you here in August 2026 are going to continue to change for you into February 2028, so you can adjust your expectations and be ready for what needs to be figured out, solved, where you have to be adaptable, where you have to stay open to new options and solutions, and know that ultimately, as you do so, you're being liberated from past unconscious restraints, and this can be quite freeing. I know that's different for everyone, but yeah, this is a significant initiation into the mutable signs, the strengths of the mutable signs. And it also is going to reveal more of your willingness to stay on your toes as these changes happen. So yes, there's a lot in this particular Pisces lunar eclipse that will reveal, again, what is closing out and ending as part of a natural cycle, where you're going to feel challenged by those changes and what previously worked that you're realizing you have to let go of. And then also bringing in these disruptive and unexpected new solutions, new information, new things coming to the forefront that you also have to consider and work with. I will keep discussing this as we move through the astrology here of 2026, but ultimately I hope that this Pisces lunar eclipse allows you to feel freer, that it removes what you recognize you no longer need, and that it also brings you into more gratitude for what you do have, for what is true for you, and also for what you can create. So thank you for joining me for this video. I'll be back with another one here on my YouTube channel. As always, I love your comments. So please feel free to share anything that you're realizing or moving through in the comments below. Please know that it can help someone else who can relate to what you're also going through. And this is just a beautiful strength of this online community. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you back here soon.